Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Synnex Customer Webinar on Personalized Views and Advanced Find. This webinar is going to be the first in a series of webinars that I'm going to host for you, talking about basics in reporting in Dynamics 365. So for some of you who might be more advanced users of Dynamics 365 and creating reports, some of this might be review for you. But if you're a very beginner in creating views and reporting within Dynamics, I'm going to kind of start from the basics, and in the next few webinars, I'm going to build out from there. Okay, a couple notes. We are recording this webinar, so if there's information that you want to go back to and see again, we will be sending it out following this live webinar. And also, if there's content that maybe you want to share with your colleagues that you think they will benefit from viewing the webinar, you'll also be able to share it with them. Now, I'm going to try to keep this to about 20 minutes. The adult kind of learning attention span is 22 minutes. So I try to kind of keep this to a shorter topic and try to kind of pack in as much content as I can in kind of a 20-minute span of time. So today, as I had mentioned, we're going to talk about reporting basics. And the basics within Dynamics are the views. Okay, and you have views or lists within any of the entities in Dynamics. As I go through my demonstration, I'm going to work in a lead entity, okay, and create a report based on leads. But the information that I'm going to give you is going to also be applicable to any entity that's within the system, whether it be accounts, companies, contacts, opportunities, orders, anything that you might be using within Dynamics. Okay. Now, here I am sharing my Dynamics screen. And as you can see, I am in a standard list view within Dynamics. And as I had mentioned, I'm going to work within leads today, but you can work within any of the different entities within Dynamics. And what I'm going to show you is going to work with any of those, okay? So as I had said, a view is the basis of a report in Dynamics. A view is a collection of data that can have, a variety of criteria associated with it. And in Dynamics, you'll see that a view is very similar to, say, like an Excel spreadsheet, okay? So it's a collection of columns, right? And your columns are going to have different data elements that are within Dynamics, and then your rows are actually going to be displaying that data for whatever entity that you're looking at. Okay, so again, you have your rows, and then we have our columns across here. Now, you have a variety of different views within your system, okay? You have system views, and you also have personalized views. System views are something that's made and shared with the entire organization. So these are views that are set up, a lot of times by Synact for, your organization. You can also create your own custom views, and we'll see in here in a minute that they come under a My View section. And basically they operate the same way as a system view does, but they're personalized for you. And so not everyone else within your organization is going to see that view, okay? Within these views, you can customize what columns you put in there, and then you can also give them some criteria as to what data you want them to display. The best way to begin in creating your own personalized views or kind of mini reports is to either work from an existing system view that's already there and edit it and make it your own. Or you can always reach out to Synact and we can help you. It's part of your all-inclusive service model where we are available if you contact support to help you walk through and create a personalized view within Dynamics in any of the entities you want. But you may also find that you want to create your own. And even, as simple as editing, a system view to move columns in, an order that's, better for you is something that you're going to be able to do. So I'm going to show you this today. So I'm going to start with an existing view. And here I am in the Open Leads view. I want to go ahead and edit this and make it my own. I can come up here in the blue toolbar to the Martini glass. Clicking on the Martini glass brings up what we call Advanced Find. Okay, you could think of this as a query builder, but basically this is the functionality of creating your own basic report. Okay, so here in this main section, you're going to see where you can put in your own criteria, right? Or your own query for this report. Now, because I'm using an existing system view, you'll see that there's already an element or a piece of criteria in here for me, right? And it is that the status equals open, okay? Now, I can build upon this and add more criteria to my list view to further slim down the list of records that I'm looking at and really start to define and get to the crux of the information that I'm looking for in my report. So at a basic sense, what you can do is, like I said, add criteria. You're adding kind of the story of what you want your report to contain in terms of information. So as I said, I started with status equals open. Maybe I also want to find a list of leads that are in a particular city, for example. I could also come here and I come to this drop down, you'll see, and this is going to give me all the fields that I can select that are part of the lead. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look for city, okay? So I've now selected my field city, okay? And here now I've got an operator. What do I want to find about the field city? Do I want it to equal something, not equal something, contain a certain value, not contain a certain value, begin with a certain value, not begin with, end with? You contain data or not contain data. You've got some options here of what your operator is of how you want to build this list. So I'm going to say the city begins with, and then I'm going to come here and enter my text, and I'm going to say Rochester, okay? Now I can add more criteria. I can maybe also say I want a, say, phone number. Let's go look for phone number. Let's see. Because I'm not sure what the field name is, which is something that can happen when you're trying to do this. And is one of probably the hardest things about building a list or a query is selecting which field it is or finding the field it is that you're actually looking for. Now I needed phone number. I did find it here under business phone, right? But I did look under phone number or something like that. If you run into a problem where you're looking for a particular field in your database and you can't figure out what the name of it is to create your report, remember, part of your service with Synact is that you can reach out to us and we will assist you with that and help you find the field that it is you're looking for, or help you write the right query to get the right information that you're looking for, okay? So here, I selected business phone. And maybe what I want is that business phone contains data, right? I'm looking for a list of contacts where we actually have a business phone number for them, okay? So right now, what my query is telling me is that my status equals open, my city begins with Rochester, and the business phone number contains data. Okay, as I'm building this, these are all and statements. So the records that are going to show up in my list view are going to fit all of this criteria. They're going to be open. The city is going to begin with Rochester, and there is going to be a phone number in the phone number field. Okay. Once you've got your query the way that you want it, you can check to see if you did it right by hitting results. If you know you should have data in the system that fits that criteria, then you should get a list of records here. Okay, so I feel like I did this right. I'm going to come back over to the Advanced Find tab here, and now I'm going to save my new query I just made. And I'm going to say Save As, and I'm going to name this something, Open Leads in Roch with phone number, okay? And I'm going to hit Save. I have just created my own personalized view, okay? So now it's been saved. I'm going to X out of this. I'm just going to refresh quick, just to make sure I can share this with you. And when I come back in here, you'll now see under My Views, that list I just created, Open Leads in Rochester with phone number. Now, this is a dynamic list. So anytime a new lead gets created in Dynamics that's in the city of Rochester and they have a phone number, they will be added to my list. Or in converse, if one of these leads gets updated and the city gets changed from Rochester to Webster, then it's going to be removed from my list automatically because it's dynamic, and Dynamics is constantly looking to make sure to look for the data that fits your criteria in your list, and it's going to display it for you within that list. Okay. And now think about it. I kind of have, in a mini way, a report that now I can use to share all of my open leads that are in Rochester. If I wanted to, I can export this to Excel, okay? I can also share this view with someone else within my organization. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute, okay? The other thing I can do, and I think I've covered this in previous webinars, is I can pin my new view, my new basic report, and this can be the default list view anytime I go to leads that I then see and I go into, okay? So now what else can I do with this new list view or basic report I just created? I'm going to come back up here to the martini glass, okay? So maybe one of the things I want to do is I want to edit the columns, okay? I can come here and you'll see I'm in my open leads in Rochester view, and I'm going to come to edit columns. From here, I can add, move, or subtract any columns that I want to within this view, okay? As I scroll over, I will see the different columns that are here available to me. So maybe I'm not interested in mobile phone number. If I click on it, I can X and hit remove, and it will remove it from my view, okay? Maybe I want the region field moved all the way over to the left-hand side. If I click on it, I can use these arrows here to move the column over to where I want it. So now I have region here in the beginning. The other thing I can do is add additional columns to my view. I click on Add Columns. Here it brings up all of the fields that are on my lead, and I can go ahead and select them and then add them to my mini report here. So I'm going to put Rochester, or I'm going to put city on there. We should see Rochester filled into all of them, right? And maybe I want to know the date it was created on as well. I clicked both of those. I press OK. I scroll over here to the end, or actually they're right here. I've got my created on and my city now. Maybe I want my created on date at the beginning. Can move that over. Maybe I want city all the way to the end. So you can move and add and remove columns to make this report in whatever format you want and display the information that's most relevant to you, okay? So now that I've made these changes, one other thing I can do is I can also edit that width of the column when it's displayed in the list view. So say here, if I double click on created on, I can come down here and increase the width of that column. Now you'll see it's wider. I hit OK. And then what I want to do is press save. And that's going to go ahead and save the changes I made to that view. I can X out of this. If I go ahead and refresh, oh, hold on. Let's give it a second here. My changes didn't stick. My changes should have stuck there. Let me go try to do a full refresh. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes for it to push down. There we go. So now you'll see the changes have been made. My created on dates here. My region has been moved over. And my city was added down here to the end. Okay. The other thing that I can do is I can share this list view with one of my colleagues. So maybe I made a list and they're really interested in seeing the same thing. You know, maybe you made a list of the leads that you want to target for the next month or something, right? And you want to share it with your boss. The way that you share your customized, personalized views that you've made is to come back into the Martini glass and come to saved views. From here, you'll see my active views. Here's the one I just created. I can go ahead and click on this and press share. From here, I can add a member of my team. I'll add Jordan. And now I can choose, do I want Jordan to be able to edit and write to the list? Do I want her to be able to delete it, assign it to others, or share it to others? Yeah, I probably do. So I'm going to give her all the rights and I'm going to go ahead and hit share. Now, when Jordan goes into her lead entity, under my views, she will now see open leads in Rochester with phone number, okay? And she'll be available to see the same data that I do. So just to recap, you can start from an existing view that you already have, and then customize it and add different criteria to make it your own list. Okay, so, you know, maybe we want to, you know, add more criteria. Maybe I don't care about business phone number, right? And I can go ahead and delete that. But maybe I want a list of leads that are not only in the city of Rochester, but also within the city of Syracuse. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to share a little trick with you. As I said a few minutes ago, the way that this reads means that your data has to fit, all your records have to fit all of the criteria in order for it to show up in your list view. So right now, the way this is reading, it's status is equal to open. Okay, that's good. City begins with Rochester, and city begins with Syracuse. If I come over here to results, I'm not going to get any information, right? Because it's very unlikely that I have a city field that starts with both Rochester and Syracuse at the same time. So what I really want to do is put in an or statement, right? What I want to say is give me leads with a status that equal open, and the city begins with Rochester, and I'm going to select this row, or the city begins with Syracuse. So here, if you notice, I just clicked on the downward caret and hit select row, selected both of them, and now I'm going to come up here and say group or. So what this is now telling me is I'm looking for a status equal to open, and the city's either equal to Rochester or Syracuse. Now, if I come over here, I should see some results like I do. And if you start to see here, I see Rochester, and then there's a Syracuse. So it looks like I'm getting the information that I'm looking for. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to hit Save As, and I'm going to say Open Leads in Roch and Syracuse, and hit Save. Now I've just created a secondary report or list view, right? So now, save for good measure, and I hit refresh. I'll now have two views in my views. One is that open Rochester ones with phone numbers. And then I've also got these open leads in Rochester and Syracuse. So you can see how you can start with a basic of a view and then customize it for yourself and add different criteria and save it so that it's available for you to come to whenever you need it. You can then consume this list in a variety of different ways, right? Like I said, from here, we could export it to Excel. We could also use the filters here. Maybe I want to filter by just the ones that have been attempted, right? So now I've got this list of leads in Rochester and Syracuse that now I can further query using the filters within my list, and then get more subsets of information and, do more analysis on the data that's in there. So views are really your starting point of really building reports, right? What you're trying to do is find information, find a set of information within your database that fits a certain criteria, and then displays other information from your system in a report-like fashion, okay? In our next webinar, we're going to go a little bit further with this, right? We're going to take our view, and then we're going to start looking at our view within charts. And then we're going to take this view, and we're going to start to build dashboards. We're going to start to build upon it more. So what I encourage you to do now is go back to your dynamics and think about maybe a list of records, maybe accounts or contacts, or maybe your activities, maybe a list of leads, a set of information that you're interested in seeing and looking at and sort of reporting on. I encourage you to start playing around with the advanced find and trying to customize some lists, maybe editing some system views and creating your own personalized views with columns that mean something to you, and saving them, right? If you run into any problems, remember, your all-inclusive service with Synapse gives you full access to us to help and support you with this. It might be as simple as, I can't find the field that I'm looking for, or it might be even more complex as, I've got some really, tough criteria for a view that I'm looking for, and can you help me put it together so it makes sense? Feel free to reach out to support@synac.net, and we will definitely help you with this, okay? I also encourage you to join the next webinar when I get a little bit deeper into these reporting basics and we start to use these views for something. So now I said, Your attention span is probably gone. It lasts for about 22 minutes, and we're in minute 25 now. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to leave a few minutes for any questions that anyone might have. Also, if you have questions that maybe you didn't get a chance to ask during this webinar or comes up later, go ahead and send them in. You could either email me or you can send them into support, and someone on the team will be happy to get back to you. Okay, remember, don't be afraid to try to do this. And the best way to kind of get your feet dipped into creating personalized views and basic reports is to work from what's already there, right? Go from a system view that maybe you like and then make it your own, right? Start from a view that's there and then use the advanced find to maybe further, segment your criteria and, make a view that means something to you and has useful data in it. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions coming through. Again, if you come up with something later after I've stopped, feel free to message them to us and we will get back to you. I thank you for taking this time. I hope that I was able to give you some piece of information that you found useful. And I look forward to speaking to you again next month as we dive deeper into D365 reporting. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.